Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're new, please drop a like, comment, subscribe. If you haven't already, then you know what to do. Without further ado, let's get into the topic of today's video, which is basically how to apply the order of operation and the three basic math laws, which is the commutative law, the associative law, and the distributive law. So, the order of operation. Now, quite frankly, it really scares me when I look at like TikTok trends and when I see posts on Instagram and people don't know how to apply the order of operation. Really, really frightening, because there's one rule you should follow. I don't care what your teacher tells you. It's not PEMDAS, that's for sure. What you should follow is this. BODMAS. So what does this acronym stand for? Well, these are basically the orders of operation, right? Now, these two go together and these two go together. The of really is only applicable when you work with ratios, and you will very seldomly actually find of in a long extended expression. So what this basically stands for is brackets of, this is division and multiplication, or multiplication and division, this is addition and subtraction. Now, I don't know what you've learned, but division and multiplication, there's not one where there's not a scenario where the one has greater mass than the other, which means that if you have a problem, say 5 times 10 divided by 4 multiplied by 3, it doesn't matter in which order you then apply your operations, because it will come to the exact same answer. So if I say 5 times 10, well, that's 50 divided by 4. 50 divided by 4 is some decimal times 3, which will give you something else. So 4 times 12, right? We could say 4 times 12 is, 4 times 3 is 12. 10 divided by 12 again is some decimal. 5 times some decimal will give you some decimal. So in this case, it doesn't really matter whether you add or subtract. It really doesn't matter. With or multiply or divide, it really doesn't matter. With addition and subtraction, the same. It's not going to matter whether you add, subtract, whatever. It's not going to affect your answer if those are the only operations that you are working with. But in general, if you have something like, say, 5 plus 4 multiplied by 3 plus 4 minus 1, right? How would I go about solving this? Applying BODMAS to this order of operation, right? So here's my brackets, so that's what I do first. 5 plus 4, that's 9 times 3 plus 4 minus 1, right? So now I can say, well, 9 times 3 is equal to 27. 4 minus 1, that is equal to 3. So this would be 27 plus 3, which is equal to 30. Cookies are drying. Nevertheless, this is how you apply the order of operation. So remember, it's brackets first, then you multiply, and then you can add and subtract. So I really wanted to press the importance of this subject because it is the fundamentals of mathematics, is the order of operation. So please don't forget it. Remember the word BODMAS. Now, the second topic for this video is the three basic or fundamental math laws, which is the commutative law, is what I'll start with. So, what is the commutative law? Well, the commutative law only applies for addition, right? Addition or multiplication, I'd say. Right, so what this means is that if I have something like A plus B, it is equal to B plus A. But when I subtract, I can't say that A minus B is equal to B minus A because this is not true. It is not equal to one another. So that's why I say it only applies for addition. Addition, it applies, not subtraction. And it's the same where if I say that A multiplied by B is the same as B multiplied by A. But I can't say that A divided by B is equal to B divided by A. That is not true. These are not equal to each other. So commutative law holds for multiplication but not for division. Almost fooled myself there. The next law that we're going to look at is the associative law. So the associative law, again, it holds for multiplication only because the associative law is associated with multiplication. So what does that mean? Say we have A multiplied by B multiplied by C. It can be rewritten as, for example, A multiplied by B multiplied by C. But I can't say that A divided by B, divided by C is equal to, let's say, A divided by B divided by C. That's not true. These are not equal to each other. So the associative law holds for multiplication, not for division. Now let's look at the distributive law. So the distributive law is sort of a mixture between addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So let's take a deeper look at it. So this is basically what the distributive law tells us is that, say we have something like A times B plus C, right? It says that I can distribute the A to the B and the C. So how would I go about this? Well, you follow the arrows. So in particular, it doesn't really matter if you distribute the A to the B first or the C first because this is a monomial term. There's only one. That's what monomial means, if you were wondering. And I can go and write it as such. AB plus AC. These would be exactly the same because we'll come to this a bit later on, but what I can then go and do is I can say, well, I can factor the A out again and it becomes A times B plus C, right? Because A is common here, which means I can go and factor it out, which means that this is then equal to that. That is basically what the distributive law means. And yes, it applies for negative values as well. It's not just positive values. And I'm not particularly going to go through any examples. I feel like these demonstrations through, I'd say, variables, they do explain it pretty well. But if you want me to do some examples on this particular topic, please leave it down in the comments below so that I know, so that I can go through a few examples applying these different mathematical laws so that you guys can understand it a bit better. That is it for the video. If you guys enjoy the video, please drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, that is it for the video.